Hello, today's project is a dual wall construction nail polish shelf made out of foam board. The supplies we're going to require are two 20 by 30 inch foam boards and glue, either hot glue or foam glue. That's your choice. The tools that are required are either a hot knife, which is really awesome and fun to use, but it takes more time than a rotary cutter knife. The rotary cutter knife needs to be a large size blade. This is because the foam board is 1/4 inch. If you have a small rotary cutter, it's not going to be a 1/4 inch. It won't go all the way through. So you need a large rotary cutter knife or a hot knife. You'll need a cutting mat, rulers, pencils, and this is something that I came up with, grommet pliers. This is what we're going to do to the top, is add a couple of grommets. The dimensions of the project for the cuts, your first foam core piece is going to be 14.5 by 16. Then you're going to have 3 pieces of 14 inches by 4.5 for the back lining, 4 pieces at 14 inches by 2 inches for the shelves, so they're 2-inch shelves, 4 pieces at 14.25 by 2.5 for the outer frame. See, I mentioned this is dual wall construction. 3 pieces of 14.5 inches by 1 inch for the retaining lip for the shelves. Optionally, if you're going to hang, these grommet holes are going to be for hanging the shelf up on the wall. If you're going to hang them with cup hooks, I've opened up the cup hook. You'll need spacers to glue onto the back. Otherwise your shelf is going to not hang level against the wall, it's going to hang like that. So you need spacers unless you're going to put it flush up against the wall. And let's begin. Now I've already made my cuts. Let's explain. So I have the backing. This is 14.5 inches by 16. Let me move these out of the way. So this is the backing piece. Then you're going to have lining on the inside to make it dual wall construction, which is 1/4 inch from the edge on either side. The next lining piece is going to be 1/4 inch away from it, and the next one is going to be yet another 1/4 inch away. This leaves up here at the top 1.5 inches to put the grommets in, here and here for your hangers. The shelves will be inserted here and here. So they're not only glued on one side attached to the back, they're going to be glued on 3 sides. They're going to be glued on the bottom side, the back side, and the top of the shelf. So it'll be a very secure and immovable shelf. It'll fit in like this. Once all your shelves are glued in, the outer frame will be glued in. Again, with the 1/4 inch lip on each edge so that it is secured on 2 sides, the outer frame, the back side and the side wall. Then the retaining lip will be glued on top of each shelf. Okay, enough playing around. Let's get started on the gluing. I'll be back. Okay, we're going to start with the grommet hole placement. So at the 3/4 inch line right here, I'm going to make a couple hash marks so that I have my crosshairs on where to place the grommet holes. I think I'm going to go in about 3 inches. So at the 1, 2, 3 inch mark, I'm going to make this hash line this way. And another little line here. Let's see, and then 3 inches from this side. The 3/4 inch mark, 1, 2, 3. And a T right there. One, two, three. So there you have it. The hash marks for the grommets. Let's get this started. You have to decide if you're going to use cup hooks or not. Okay. You open the grommets by releasing the retaining clip. Now you're free to use them. You pick your grommet color. I think we're going to go with silver. There's one. They come in little packs of silver, bronze, and gold tone. Place the grommet there. Okay, this is the tricky part to show on camera. But I'm going to line up right at the crosshairs, grommet hole, and punch all the way through and really give it a good punch. Because what we're going to have to do, see how it doesn't come all the way through? We tear off that little chad, if everybody remembers the hanging chad from Florida. Tear that off. So you have a rough edge there. But on the other side, the front side, you have your nice grommet. So now, looking at the back side, we're going to flip the grommets over and use this edge into the grommet hole to smooth out all edges and force it to open. And really give it a good squeeze. There we go. You heard that click? There you go. Once you have finally placed your grommets where you want them, and they look very nice on the front and the back. This is the back where we made our hash marks. You can see up close how it turned out. It's important that you make a template so you'll know where to put your screw holes or your cup hooks to hang these properly, because this top edge isn't going to be perfect, the bottom edge is going to be as square as it can be, but it's best to make a template. So I have a sheet of graph paper to make a template for the wall. I'm going to do that now. And I'm lining up this edge onto the graph paper. I have my pencil and I'm going to draw in and draw in here. So now when I look at it this way, this is the left side, this is the right side. Left side, right side. Left side, right side. Now why I say to use graph paper, and I'll show you, because they're not perfect. This is right on a crosshair, right there, and you travel across the 8.5 inches, and it's not quite at that crosshair. It's off by about 1/8 of an inch. That's why it's important to make a template for your screw holes to fit the grommets after you have already placed your grommets into the foam board. Instead of using cup hooks, if you want your wall, you want your nail polish rack to be flush up against the wall, you would need to mount it, bolt it directly into the wall. You would use washers larger than the size of the grommet holes. So you would need a 1/2 inch washer, and then probably number 6 bolt or screw. And so you would put the washer on and then screw that directly into the wall. That way it won't come flying off because the washer will stop it from flying off. But I'm choosing cup hooks with spacers, most likely. And I devised this double wall construction method because this is a gift for my 10-year-old grandniece who, I don't know, she's very active, and I don't want to make it out of wood because of the expense. But I wanted it stronger than just single width for her, because she's really active, is a nice way to put it. Alright, well, I need to finish my gluing, and then I'll show you a few steps in between, and then the final product. Okay, here I am with some of the gluing aspects of this. As I'm gluing, I'm also noting that a lot of my measurements weren't quite right because I hadn't thought it through properly. So here we're looking at the board, the backing, the lining, the 1/4" lip, which is the width of the foam core board. We have the 4 shelves started, 1 and 2 are done, 1 lining. The outer frame I miscalculated. I'll have to redo all those. So I'm going to glue on the next lining. Can you see? This is the side view of it. There goes my glue. This is double thickness. Can you see that? And I had made marks on where to make sure I line up. Ha! I gotta find the glue. I'm putting the nice piece out. I'm using a piece of foam to spread the glue. The glue that I'm using that is really fantastic is called Titebond. There's Titebond and Titebond 2. This is just Titebond. It's nice. It's really great glue for foam. I didn't want to use hot glue. No reason. So if I'm going to put this here, I need to also put a bead of glue here so that I make sure that this shelf is glued on 3 sides. And with this lovely Titebond, you don't, oh, there it goes. You don't need a whole thick bead of it. Just a nice thin coat, and it works best with a nice thin coat. So if you're careful and you drip on the board, it's going to be where you're gluing the backing to anyways, unless you do what I do and just drip on my cutting mat, which now it's on my pants. Who cares? They're just pants. This is a gift for my niece, my grandniece. Okay. And I place that in, making sure to line this edge up and this edge up carefully. You can even take a ruler. Make sure that you've got at least one good edge lined up, because your cuts should all be the same, but they may not be. It happens, you know. I used a hot knife and the same ruler for everything, but as I was redoing some of these cuts, I ended up just using the rotary cutter. It just faster, much faster. So press that down. Now what I like to do is put this ruler on and really give it a good pressing. Lock it into place. Okay. So there we go. The second tier is on. You can see the lip where the outer frame is going to go. You want to make sure that you actually have 45-degree angles on these, not something that's not a 45-degree angle. Here we go. Okay, I can't quite turn it the right way. There we go. But it doesn't look like it, but it is a 45-degree angle. Alright, I'll be back after more gluing. Okay, here I am back, and after one of the final gluing stages of all the shelves, I have run a bead of glue neatly into each well, each crevice between each shelf and the sides. I'm going to let that dry. Then this area, each shelf here, I'm going to also run a bead down these little short walls. The side pieces I carried to the top and I rounded the corner for aesthetics, so it'll look nice. I am using a piece of foam core to scrape into the edges, along with Q-tip for cleanup. The final chapter is doing the little glue insets on each of these pieces and then putting the fascia pieces on the 1-inch retaining lips. This bottom piece is going to be 1 1/4 because of the extra 1/4 inch. So this is going to be 1 1/4, these are 1 inch. And then we're done. Okay, here's the final product. I have the shelf with the little lips on it. The glue needs to dry still for all of the beading that was done. Grommets look good. A little tiny top shelf. I decided to make all of these the same anyways. So this little area can be used for nail files or orange wood sticks, and the rest is for nail polish. Looks great. Let's get a big shot of it. Not that way. Come on. Yeah, it's all my other sewing projects, blue jeans and things to make bags out of. Not bad. Not bad at all. I think what I am going to do instead of the cup hooks is to go ahead and put a washer on a number 6 screw and then stick it through the grommet and directly into the wall instead of the cup hooks. There you have it. A nice 14.5-inch square nail polish rack made out of foam board and glue and grommets. Thank you. Okay, the final list of supplies and tools and cuts are as follows. 2 20 by 30-inch foam boards, glue, your choice, hot glue, Titebond, anything you find foam glue that works for you. Tools, hot knife or a rotary cutter, a cutting mat, ruler, pencil, the grommet pliers and grommets. The cuts have changed. These are the cuts. So you have one 14.5 by 16 for the back panel. That's this piece. That's the piece you're going to put the grommets in at the top. 3 14 by 4.5 back lining pieces. That's these pieces in here. You're going to have 4 14-inch by 2 shelves. Actually 5. You've got one here, 1, 2, 3, and 4, but at the top you're actually going to double it up. So that's your 5th one. There's 2 of them in here for the top for reinforcement. Your retaining lips, these 1-inch pieces, 14.5 by 1. You have 4 of those, 1, 2, 3, and 4. The sidewall frames. Those are 16 inches by 2 inches. And I beveled the outer edge for aesthetics. Looks good. The bottom frame is one piece. It's 14.5 inches by 2 1/4 because it goes on the outside of the backing. There's the backing piece, so you need that extra 1/4 inch right here. So that's not 2 inches like the other pieces, it's 2 1/4. And then the top frame we already discussed. It's another 14-inch by 2-inch shelf. That's the list of supplies. Thank you for watching.